So good morning for those of you that are seated in the west. Good afternoon in the middle, and good evening to all of you that are in the east. First, I want to thank you for participating in this webinar. It is a pleasure to have you all and share this new UDS Enterprise 3.5 release announcement with you. Let me introduce my colleagues who will be with me during this webinar. First, at the controls, Beatriz Lafuente, our marketing director, and ready to make the demo, Javier Gomez. Once again, like every year during the webinar, we will show you the new features we have introduced in UDS Enterprise 3.5. You will see that there are many, and as always, they will allow you to continue working efficiently. After the demo, we will have a question and answer time to clarify all the doubts that you may have. But before giving the word to Javier, I would like to refresh something here about our philosophy. You know that our mission, our way of understanding technology is open. It is based on freedom of choice and as much as possible trying to meet the needs of every one of you. And with that philosophy in mind is how we work and how it works our roadmap. Before Javier starts, I want to give you a bunch of those new functionalities, some of them. And we will start with cybersecurity, a topic that we have all been talking about lately because, of course, it is essential to keep our data safe. And you need to know that UDS contains intrinsically features that allow you to shield the system security thanks to the new UDS Secure Tunnel component. What else? Yeah, we got recently the official certification support for Amazon Web Services and support of its nice DCP protocol. Also, compatibility with Nutanix Priest Central. What else? Yeah, remote access to Mac OS and native Office 365 integration will allow us to bastion devices and have excellent quality audio and video experience during Teams conferences. One more thing, which is also very important, is the native integration with wake-on-lan technology. With this technology, we will be able to work as if we were in the office, as we can automatically power on the equipment remotely and program that power on. And in this aspect, sustainability is vital since this technology extends the useful life of the devices and allow us to increase energy efficiency, very important these days. So there are more, of course, but I will stop here. And now it's the time to hand over the baton to Javier. So Javier, whenever you are ready, you can start.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you very much for coming. If you can give me 1 second, I'll start sharing the screen and let's try to show every single thing that we have to show. Okay, I think we already have it. So let's start. Okay, so to start, I'm going to start a bit with the appliances, the changes that we've had and the updates. So these three appliances, as you all know, are based on Debian. Now in this 3.5 version, they have been updated to the Debian 11. Very fluent, very fast. They go very well. The database and the server are had the same resources, minor resources, to CPU, to gigs of RAM. But the Tornado has is the star of the show today. He's been the one that has been remade entirely. All the connections and everything has been remade. And if the previous version, let's say for example, you can do like 50 to 100 users with a tunneler, of course, depending on the type of the user. Now with this 3.5 version, you could get squeeze a bit more users with the by default resources that we have. Also, I want to talk to you about before I continue the new process, the update process. Before I continue, so let's put in the example that you are all using a 3.0 version. Okay, so just to tell you how easy it is to update, remember that the only thing you need to do in a case like this, I have here all three things, all three appliances, will be to turn off the turn server, turn off the tunneler, and upload the new appliances. You could save the same IPs, change IPs, but the process is as that simple. Also remember that you could keep the database that you're using. I have a 3.5 version database, but doesn't have minor a lot of changes. You can use your 3.0 database and to keep all that information to new appliances. What I'm going to show you now is one of the changes that we have in the configuration of the UDS tunneler. Okay, so I'm going to come right here. Let me show you this first. I have the tunneler here. Give me 1 second. So one of the things that we have added is the configuration. Oh, give me 1 second because it's right here. Okay, so in the UDS tunneler, as you see, we have launched the UDS setup. Now we're going to enter it and we'll see the new thing. So I have it right here. Let's click inside. Let's put it in English, going to be better for everyone. Let's click on next. Okay, so here, of course, in my case, I'm going to configure it because it's the first time, but if you're doing the update, remember, you can click skip, leave it as it is, or anything if you need. So very easy. Let's just tell it yes. It will just give us 1 minute and we will continue with the configuration. Okay. So next here, very important, I will say, in the time zone. In my case, I am going to put Madrid, okay? But of course, depending on where you are, this is very important for the when you're going to get the logs. Because if you have a time zone not correct, it will be a really big mess when you're going to try to find what given hour you need a machine or something like that. Okay, so here is where I'm going to stop a bit. This is the new part that we have. We have added. In my case, let's see what IP does the server have. It's 1488. Okay, so what we're going to need here, the IP of the server. What are we going to do now? As you see, it has already detected the administration, the internal one and the administration one. So this new tab will help us not to have any, let's say, ghost tunnelers in our platform. We will always have the registration of this tunneler. Later, also you were. So in this case, I am going to use this one, my user. And before I continue, I have to show you one more thing. When you all go to update, you will get to that part, and some of you will have maybe minor problems with this. As you can see here, if you're using the 3.0 version or 3.5, doesn't matter. The 3.0 version, you had this to, yes, redirect to HTTPS. All the connections will be redirected to HTTPS, regardless of what you have. So if when you are in this part and you have that connected, there are a lot of times where you don't have the certificates installed. So maybe in there you have a bit of a problem, but the thing that I recommend and we recommend is that to put this check before the update, put this check in no, save, reboot the, let's say the old appliance, and when you upload the new one, it will go very smooth. And also remember that when the connection is finished and the creation is finished, you can put this check to yes again whenever you want, of course. So here, let's put password, the certificates, of course, if you need them, you could do it right now. And that will be all easy. I'm going to show you now in the server. One new thing that we had added. Okay, so if you remember, we had in the 3.0 version this token part, but in the 3.5 version, we added to the actor, we added the tunnel. Okay, so you can see here, now we can have a registration of every tunneler that we have in our platform. As you can see, I did it with my user, with J. Gomez, the date, the time, the IP, something very useful because in large environments, you can have what a lot of people have more than one tunneler. Here you can have it all checked. Okay, so I think for now this is it. Let's go back to our demo. Okay, now I'm going to talk about a bit of the UDS client and UDS tunneler. So the UDS client all of the UDS clients have been updated, refreshed, but the star here is going to be in the portable ones. We have created a new portable client, as you can hear the app image, that is very useful. What we wanted to achieve with this portable client is that trying to get to every Linux distribution. As you know, there are a lot of distributions that are, let's say, a bit hard with the packaging, with the distributions, and with this, we can get to every single one of them. What does this portable client have? It has three things. The most important one, the UDS client, of course. The second one, the free RDP client that we're going to need for some of the connections. And the third one is going to be the X2Go client, of course, for some Linux connections and Linux apps. I want to show you now how easy it is to configure one of these in a new platform. So let me show you right here. Okay, so right here I have a Sovereign OS. It's a Linux distribution. Maybe you don't know it. It goes very well. It goes very smooth, and I'm going to show you a bit how easy it is to work with it. So what you can see right here, I have downloaded the UDS client. Okay, the IPP image. I have it right here in my download tab. The first thing that I have to do will be to unpack it. Okay, once I unpack it, you have it right here. Those three things. What are we going to do? Very easy. Just install installer.sh with sudo, of course, remember, and you will have it already installed and ready to go. I have here an Ubuntu machine, if I have not incorrect. Oh, it's a Windows 11 machine. So we're going to connect to it to show you one more thing. As you see, it's going to try to open the US client. Let's say yes. Of course, you could click that check so it doesn't show you again. And as you can see, we are here in a Windows 11 machine. One little thing that I wanted to talk is that this little tab that you see here. Normally, when you're using Linux connections, this tab that you see right on the top, it doesn't show. With UDS, but one of the things that you can do is in the transport add a little parameter that you can ask us, of course, and it will show you this. And to close the connection is very easier for some of the users. Let's close it here, and this is it for this. Let's give it now. And now let's go. Let's put this in Spanish, of course. It's going to be better for everyone. To the actor. Okay, so the actor, of course, has been updated also, every single one of them. And I wanted to talk about the most important one here is going to be where they had the most changes. It's going to be the managed actor for our physical machines. So I'm going to enter inside and show you what we have changed. Here, okay. Okay, so as you can see right here, we have a little check, new check. It says log machine by external access. I think I'll explain it with a little example. So imagine that you have your VDIs or your static machines, but you have a local session. Someone locally has entered the machine. So if that user doesn't do a correct sign out or closes very fast or shuts down the machine to UDS, we don't get the information that that machine is not being used or that machine is being used. With this, we are going to be able to detect when a local user is working on that machine, and it won't let us access that machine until that local user uh, signs out. So I'm going to show you with a little demonstration right here. Okay. So I have here Windows 10. Okay. I am going to access this machine locally. Let's give it a second. Okay. So we are here in our Windows 10 locally, and now let's see what happens Here I have that same machine, okay? As you see, this is what the user will see. The service is not available at the moment until we detect that that user is not locally connected. Something very useful that has happened in some cases, and that will help everything. So let's get it like this. We can close this already. Let's see what else. Oh, okay. Very important. Let's talk about the client and the when you do the update. So let's go back to the client for a second. Okay, so now talking about the client, I wanted to tell you the compatibility with the 3.0 3.5 version. So to start, remember the 3.5 client is compatible with your UDS 3.0 platforms. But if you have the 3.0 platform, you cannot use the 3.0 client. You cannot use it with the 3.5 platforms. So what do we recommend? In the case that you are, let's say you have the 3.0 version, the first thing that you should do always is to update the clients so that the users can continue working even better with the new client, and then update the appliances. Let's see what we have next. Let's go to the dashboard. Okay, so you can see the first thing that we see here, new one, is the graphs, the charts. So this is something that we had before in the previous versions, and a lot of people ask us for that again, and here we have it. Very useful. You can see here the assigned services and the services that are being used at the moment. Also remember that here in this click, you can zoom in some dates that you want to have more specific information. And also in the service pools, let's open, oh, not this one. This I want to open one like this. You can also here in the service pool in the charts, you can see three things that we can see right now: the assigned machines, the machines that are cached, and the machines that are being used with three different colors. So at every moment, at every given time, you are going to see how many machines are assigned, how many machines are in cache, or if you need to bump up the services, of course you can do it with no problems. What else? Okay. So let's start to one of the big new things that's going to be the new platforms. The first one is going to be the previous Central new platform on Nutanix platform. New in this version, very easy to configure. The only thing that you're going to need is your, of course, the IP of your Nutanix server, and of course, very important, the username and a password that have privileges in your Nutanix platform. The second thing will be AWS. What are we going to need to configure AWS? Same, very easy. Of course, a name, and this will give you your AWS provider, the access key, and the secret access key. So now I'm going to show you, I have right here, this is a platform that we have on AWS, and I want to talk about a bit right here. So here in the AWS, as you can see, we have our tunneler, our server, and our database. So what are the three base services that we're going to need in AWS? Let's go right here. As you can see, will be these three: IAM, S3, and EC2. And let's talk a bit of each one of them. First one, the IAM. This will be the service that we use with our users. Create users, create groups, create some roles. Very useful, and we'll need to use it sometimes. And then will be S3. S3 will be the one where we save our things in the storage. It will be where we save our storage. We will create our buckets where we will save our images. Of course, we will always need it. And last but not least, EC2. This will be our principal management service. From here, we can access almost everything that we need. As you can see right here, you can see your instances, your AMIs, your volumes, your instances. From here, you can get to almost everywhere. So give me 1 second, because this changes sometimes. It goes to a place where I'm not. It's Frankfurt where we need it. Okay, we have it here. So I'm going to show you how to configure this very easily. Let's get inside. Okay. So let's create a new service right here. Oh, let's put this in English. Okay. So let's create our service right here. In my case, we are going to create an X Ubuntu 20, okay? The instance type in my case is going to be small. Let's give it a name. The key pair is going to be UDS servers, if I'm not incorrect, yes. And a base machine name, let's put, for example, Ubuntu. The name length, in my case, 3, more than enough. Now the network, of course, here everyone will have something different, but in my case, and the security groups, there's something that you will have to create in your AWS platform. Okay, let's save, and we already have it. So now let's create a simple service pool, a new service pool. Let's say Ubuntu base service, the one that we have created, non-persistent Linux, and the liability, we have it right here. In cache, let's put 5, for example. Okay, so now it's going to start creating. If we give it 1 second, we are going to see it right here. But let me go to the service pool in the cache tab. Let's give it a second, and then we'll come back here. Okay. Oops. Here I have it. Okay. Let's see what next. A lot of things that I have to go here. Let's go back to the dashboard and start with some new things. Okay, so the authenticators. The first one thing we see is a new authenticator that we have it, Radius. Very easy, very used these days. The only thing that we're going to need is the server IP, and very important, the secret radius. And from this, we can create it. Now, some implementations on the one that we already have. So here, with the Active Directory, something that a lot of people was asking is that you have your main server, but you would like to have a backup server in case of something bad happens. We hope nothing happens, but in the case that happens, normally here in the host, you would add your main, let's call it main server. Here in advanced, you can add your backup server, and in the case that something happens, you will connect automatically to this new backup server. What else? Okay, yes. So the global, I'm going to talk about the global logout now. As you can see in the Timeout Authenticator, before in the 3.0 version, we have a global logout that was global for every authenticator. Now, in those authenticators where you need it, you will have it inside this advanced tab, and you can have it locally for the authenticator that you need. Okay. Nothing more in the authenticators, if I'm correct. In the OS Manager, let's say, yes, very important here in the OS Manager, one new thing that we have is the calendar logout. So let's show just with an example. Imagine you have a user that you want him to stop working at 7 p.m. If you have this in no, well, what's going to happen is that he's going to continue working from 7 p.m. to any hour until he logs out. But if you have this in yes, what's going to happen is UDS is going to try to close that connection immediately when that hour is given. So now that's up to you if you want to close those connection just at the hour you want, or you want to let that user, okay, let's give him some time until he closes. At the moment he closes, he won't be able to start again. What else here? Oh yes, very important, the transports. Okay, so the transports. First thing we see, and the direct ones and tunnels, of course, is the nice DCP protocol. Very good protocol, goes very fast. And remember always that if you are using AWS platform, this protocol is free. It's given to you always. And I'm going to show you now how it works. I have here a Windows 10 machine. Always remember that you will need to install the nice DCP client. It's going to be a bit difficult, but with the nice DCP client, as you can see, we have it right here. It goes very smooth and very well. So I encourage you everyone to try it if you can. Let's go back to the transports. Okay, here. Okay. So what else? What else? Yes, okay, the no machine protocol. This no machine protocol, the before called NX, is very good protocol, goes very well also with heavily demanded graphics, application, and machines. What we'll be trying to do with this no machine protocol? So what we're trying to do is a protocol that we can connect to every single OS. You can connect to Mac, you can connect to Linux, you can connect to Windows, every single one of them, and goes very smooth. Next, in the RDP, here are a couple of things. So if you remember in the 3.0 version, you had to apply a little patch to connect to with Mac OS. Now in the 3.5 version, we can save the part. No need to do it. It's already here inside by default. What else? Oh, very important also. We have now the possibility to change the default port of RDP if you need it. There are companies that have a lot of ports used and they have to change some things. If you want it now with the 3.5 version, you can change it. Let's see what else. Oh, I promised I was going to talk to HTML5, and here it is. I didn't forget. So with the new 3.5 version, of course, the Guacamole server that is inside the tunnel has been updated. With it, many changes. The first of all, you can now use the Guacamole tunnel if you need it. If you want to use it for the HTML5 connections, you can use it. Next, and very important, here in the parameter tab. Okay, so here, a lot of things. First one, very important, the microphone, something that we didn't have before. Now you can redirect for the microphone of your machine if this is enabled, of course. And two more important things, the file sharing. Before, wasn't very good. Now you have a lot of options. You can disable the file sharing for everyone. So for the ones that are using this transport, you can only allow the upload, only allow the download, or allow everything, of course, if you need it. With the clipboard, the same. You can disable completely the clipboard, only copy, only paste, and you can enable fully if you need it also. What else? What else? Okay, yes. In the oh yes, something I'm going to talk a bit fast on this, but in the metapose, if you remember, before you only had the option to create it with one transport. Okay, now with the 3.5 version, you're going to have the option to use more than one transport if needed. I will show you why here in the transports. For example, right here in the advanced tab in the transport, you have one thing called label. This is for the meta pool. Using this label in the meta pool will allow us to have more than one if necessary. Before we could only have the first one. Now you can choose the every transport that you need. Very helpful. Let's go. Also in the reports, we have added some new reports. So for the administrator, very useful information, check them out. And in the configuration, here we have added a couple of things. As I told you before, remember this redirect to HTTPS if you're going to update. But let's go with the important thing here in the session timeout. So imagine you are working and you need to go out or something and you can't close your session here in the UDS platform. Now you can tell for admins and for users a specific time. For example, you want it's in minutes, 1 second, sorry. You want it to at 100 an hour or 2 hours. If you're not working or if we don't detect work in the UDS platform, it will automatically close. Very good security. Also, couple of things here. The list page sites. If you have very big platforms, a lot of transport, a lot of pools, a lot of services, and you want them to be shown or not, here you can change it. We have it in 18 here. If you want more or less, just change this number. It will be shown as many as you like. Then with BNC. So we have added a function where we can connect directly to the user with BNC. I'm going to show you, a service pool right here. Okay, so not this one. Windows 11, I think. So it's not included with UDS, of course, in the template you are going to need to have the. Let me open one first so I can show you. It's opening here in the other. Okay. Okay, now let's go back to the pool with Windows 10. Okay, you can see I have one right here. And from here, you can connect with VNC to the user. As I said before, remember that you are going to need, imagine that you are using auto-generated machines and the template, you are going to need to have the VNC server, the VNC client installed if you want this connection to be made. If you're a static machine, the same. You have to install VNC and the template in the machine. Then UDS will allow you to connect with the VNC right here. Also, something that we have learned just a couple days ago, if you download Ubuntu 22, I think it's the last one, the BNC information is already, and server and services are already inside the machine. You don't need to download nothing new. So here you can save some time and won't need to download anything else. And I think that's, oh, I forgot one thing. And I think that's over. When talking about the UDS actor, one of the new things that we have implemented and that you will all like, I'm sure, is that the possibility to send some alerts to the user when needed. This was something that a lot of people was asking for, some type of messaging for the users. So now with these new actors, you can have the possibility to add those alerts to the final user. And I think for me, it's all.
Well, we have come to the end of this webinar. So thank you again for your interest in UDS Enterprise and your attendance. Remember that updating your infrastructures to this new UDS Enterprise 3.5 version is important to enjoy all these features we have commented on throughout this webinar. In addition, this will allow you to increase security further. So please don't stop doing it. It's really important. If you have problems with the update, you can write to us at support@udsenterprise.com. So thank you again and wish you a pleasant time ahead. Bye.